It's a cold night, and the streets are eerily quiet. Out of the darkness, a tiny, trembling puppy appears. Starving, scared, and alone, the little dog seems to have nowhere to turn until one man notices it. He's just a regular guy, walking home after a long day, when something catches his eye, a helpless creature in desperate need of help. Without a second thought, he rushes to the puppy's side, scooping it up and promising to give it a safe place to stay. But as he examines the little dog, he notices something unusual, something he could never have expected. A collar with a name that's instantly recognizable, a name that no one would have thought would be on the neck of a stray. Who is this puppy really? And how did it end up on the streets in the first place? What does this unexpected discovery mean for the man who thought he was just doing a good deed? The answers will leave you stunned. Stick around to find out. The man holds the little puppy in his arms, his breath visible in the chilly air. He can feel its ribs pressing against his chest, so thin and fragile. The collar around its neck is worn but not completely beaten by time. He turns it in his hands, his fingers brushing over a small golden tag. His heart skips a beat when he sees the name engraved on it. It's the name of a well-known figure, a name that's been in the media lately. Could this really be the same dog? He stares at the tag for a moment longer, his mind racing. This wasn't just any stray dog. No, this was someone's dog, someone important's dog. How did it end up here, abandoned and shivering on the streets, miles away from the comfort of its owner's home? He looks down at the puppy, confused and slightly shaken. The decision to help it was easy enough. The puppy needed care, warmth, and food, things he could provide. But now, this feeling of unease starts creeping in. What if someone's looking for it? What if the puppy is in danger, and by taking it in, he's putting himself in harm's way? He tries to shake the thought off. The puppy's needs are clear, and that's all that matters right now. He decides to bring the dog back to his apartment. He has no idea what's going to happen next, but for tonight, he just wants to offer the puppy a safe place. It's a quiet night, and as he walks down the empty streets, he wonders how long the puppy had been out here, alone and frightened. The man's heart aches for it. When they finally make it back to his apartment, the man sets the puppy down on the floor, gently rubbing its back as it sniffs around the unfamiliar space. The little creature's tail wags slightly as it realizes it's safe for now. He watches it for a moment before grabbing a bowl of water and setting it down beside the puppy, who drinks greedily. Then the man notices something else. The puppy's coat is still immaculate, despite the obvious signs of having been abandoned. It's strange, almost like it was well cared for, but just lost. The man runs his hand over his face, his thoughts swirling. He knew he should probably reach out to the authorities, let them know he found this dog. But something holds him back. The name on the collar nags at him. What if this is more than just a simple case of a lost dog? What if this has something to do with the story that's been making the rounds in the news recently? What if the dog's disappearance is part of something bigger, something darker? A few days pass, and he tries to keep his mind off the situation, settling into a routine with the puppy. He names it, just for now, to have something to call it, but he still can't shake the feeling that he's being watched. It's nothing obvious, just a lingering sensation that there's more to this story than he could have imagined. The puppy is adjusting well, gaining weight and becoming more playful with each passing day. The man is relieved, but the nagging feeling never quite fades. One evening, as he's out walking the puppy, he's approached by a woman who seems strangely familiar. She's dressed in expensive clothes, her hair neatly pulled back, but there's something desperate in her eyes. She asks if he's seen any lost pets around the neighborhood, and he doesn't even have to try to keep the suspicion from his voice. He tries to brush her off politely, but her persistence only grows stronger. She's been searching everywhere for a dog matching the puppy's description, and now she's asking him directly if he's seen it. Are you sure you haven't seen a small golden retriever puppy? It's very important, she says, her voice trembling with urgency. The man hesitates for a moment, his fingers tightening around the leash. The woman is close now, studying him as if she can tell he's hiding something. His heart races in his chest as he looks down at the puppy, who is happily sniffing the ground. He knows the truth, but he doesn't know what to say. He finally answers her question. I might have seen a puppy like that, but I don't think it's the one you're looking for. His heart pounds in his chest as he watches her disappear around the corner. Could she have been lying? Or was she just another person looking for a pet? Something in her demeanor unsettles him, and as he turns back to the puppy, he feels the weight of the situation pressing down on him more than ever. It's clear now, the puppy's collar, the woman's strange behavior, it's all connected. Over the next few days, the man can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. He does a little research, checking out news stories and local reports, and he comes across something that makes his blood run cold. The dog's name isn't just famous in the celebrity world, it's tied to a much bigger scandal, one involving powerful people with more at stake than he could ever imagine. He begins to wonder if rescuing this puppy was the right choice. If he's not careful, he might find himself caught up in something he's not prepared for, something dangerous and far-reaching. As much as he cares for the puppy, he knows he might not have a choice but to hand it over. But there's a problem. The longer he keeps the puppy, the more attached he becomes. It's hard to imagine letting go of the little dog now, even though he knows it might not be safe for either of them if he keeps it hidden. The days drag on as he grapples with his conscience, torn between doing the right thing and protecting something he's come to love. Then one evening, as he's sitting in his apartment, watching the puppy play, there's a knock at the door. His heart leaps into his throat. He opens it cautiously, and standing on the other side is a man, a tall, imposing figure, dressed in a suit. His voice is calm, but the underlying threat is unmistakable. We know you have it, the man says flatly. We just want the dog back. No questions asked. The man's mind spins as the door shuts behind him. Who are these people? What do they want with the puppy? And what happens if he doesn't comply? The door clicks shut behind him, leaving the man standing there, his pulse racing. The man in the suit is still there, his eyes unwavering. It feels like the world has suddenly narrowed, closing in on him. All he wanted was to help a stray puppy. How did it become so complicated? His mind races, replaying the conversation in his head. We know you have it. The words echo, an ominous warning that seems to carry far more weight than the man can process at the moment. Who are they? What do they want with the dog? He stands frozen for a few moments, trying to gather his thoughts, but everything feels like a blur. The puppy, now curled up in the corner of the room, seems oblivious to the tension hanging in the air. The man's heart aches at the thought of what might happen if he hands the puppy over to these strangers. After a long moment of silence, the man finally speaks, his voice shaking but steady. Who are you? What do you want with the dog? The man in the suit remains calm, his gaze sharp and calculating. That's not something you need to know. What matters is that you give us the dog. It's not yours to keep. There's a chill in the air now, a growing sense of danger. The man knows he's in over his head. He didn't expect any of this when he decided to help a puppy. But he can't just hand the dog over. Something about this situation doesn't sit right. He looks down at the little dog, its golden fur still clean despite its rough journey, and he knows he can't let it go. Not like this. What happens if I don't? The man's voice is firmer now, though his hands tremble at his sides. The stranger doesn't flinch. You don't want to find out. Give us the puppy, and we'll leave you alone. It's clear the man has no intention of backing down. But what are his options? He doesn't know who these people are, what their true motives are, or what will happen to him or the puppy if he refuses. But the idea of giving the dog up without a fight doesn't sit right with him. He can't do it. In that moment, the man makes a decision. He turns and walks toward the puppy, who looks up at him with those trusting eyes. His heart aches for what the little creature has already been through. He's not going to let it be part of whatever game these strangers are playing. Not if he can help it. I'm not giving it to you, he says, his voice unwavering now. You'll have to do a lot more than just knock on my door to take this puppy. For a moment, the man in the suit doesn't react. He just stands there, watching him closely, calculating. Then, with a slow nod, he turns and walks toward the door. The man feels a brief sense of relief until the stranger stops just short of leaving. "Don't think this is over," he says, his voice low. "We'll be back. You don't know what you're dealing with." And just like that, the stranger is gone. The door clicks shut, leaving the man alone with the puppy. The silence is deafening. The man stands there for what feels like an eternity, his mind racing. He has no idea what to do next, but he knows he can't stay in the apartment much longer. He's no longer just an innocent bystander. His actions have drawn attention, and now he's part of something bigger than he ever imagined. He packs a bag, grabs his phone, and makes a decision. He's going to figure out exactly what's going on, even if it means putting everything on the line. The man reaches out to a contact, someone he knows from his past who's worked with investigations before. He doesn't have all the details, but he's desperate for help. When he explains the situation, his contact agrees to meet him, though he's clearly skeptical. The man knows he has to act fast, but he also realizes that the situation is far more complicated than he initially thought. Later that day, they meet in a quiet cafe, far from the prying eyes of anyone who might be looking for them. The man explains everything: the puppy, the caller, the mysterious people, and the growing feeling that something is very wrong. His contact listens intently, his face serious. "You're not just dealing with any ordinary lost dog," he says. "That collar, it's a symbol. A symbol tied to something much bigger than you can imagine. This is no random case." The man's heart sinks as the weight of the situation becomes clearer. So who are they? They're connected to a network. Powerful people. People who don't like their secrets getting out. That puppy isn't just a dog, it's a key to something they'll stop at nothing to protect. The man is shaken by the revelation, but it also clears up a lot of the questions that had been running through his mind. There's a story behind this puppy, one that's tied to a world of power, secrecy, and danger. His contact pulls out his phone, showing him a photo of a high-profile figure, the name that was on the collar. "This is who's behind it," he says quietly. And the dog is just a piece of the puzzle. The man listens in shock as his contact explains how this figure had been involved in a scandal, involving millions of dollars, manipulation, and corruption. The dog's disappearance had been the spark that set off a chain of events, one that now led straight to him. He's stunned. The puppy, this little dog he rescued from the streets, wasn't just any stray. It was a pawn in a much larger game. And now, he's caught in the middle of it. But the man isn't one to back down. Not now. He has no idea where this road will lead, but he knows he has to keep moving forward. For the puppy's sake. For his own sake. He spends the next few days carefully making moves. He reaches out to people who might be able to help, gets in touch with individuals who can give him more information. But the more he digs, the more complicated it gets. The stakes are higher than he could have imagined, and the threats only grow more intense. One night, as he sits at his computer, piecing together the information he's gathered, a message flashes on his screen. It's from an anonymous source, someone who claims to know everything. The message is short but clear: "You're not alone. We're watching. Keep the dog safe." The man stares at the screen, his mind racing. Who are these people? And what do they want from him? But there's no time to question it. The threat is still looming, and the man knows he has to act quickly. He can't let the puppy become a casualty of a battle he doesn't fully understand. He's in this now, and he's not backing down. The days turn into weeks as he navigates a dangerous web of lies, corruption, and manipulation. The pressure mounts, and the stakes get higher, but the man never wavers. With the puppy by his side, he continues to gather information, slowly but surely piecing together the full picture. In the end, the man uncovers the truth behind the puppy's connection to the scandal. It's far more than anyone could have anticipated, far more dangerous too. But by then, he's already too deeply involved to back out. He has no choice but to see it through to the end. And so, as the final pieces of the puzzle fall into place, the man realizes that his actions have set something into motion that will forever change the lives of everyone involved. The story of the stray puppy, abandoned on the streets, has now become a story of power, deception, and betrayal, a story that will haunt him for the rest of his life.